It's seriously a slippery fucking slope on the internet. I adore Alia's herbals, what she and her husband get up to. I really do. There aren't a lot of accounts and people that I would back or that I look up to for what they put on the internet by and large. But we are all easily taken in by just being accustomed to other personalities online. And what they're going to do here and there is they're going to dish up something that might reflect reality or might sound like it reflects reality in a mixture of a bunch of other shit that does not fucking reflect reality whatsoever. And by extension, you're going to start to repeat all of it and or promote somebody who is openly lying to the masses. I want you to hear this.
Program those epigenetics. They discovered that traumas from 15 to 20 generations of your past ancestors gets passed down through the RNA down the father's bloodline. And when you're born with memories from 15 to 20 generations ago that are active in your life as you're growing up and living. And people can't figure out, why do I feel depressed? I got a great life. Why am I feeling angry or anxious? A lot of the times, those are memories that are coming out through your genes. It's gene expressions that are creating different hormonal levels in your body that's creating the different moods that you're getting into. You have to learn how to reprogram those epigenetics.
As for the message he just dished up, I don't know whether or not that holds water. Personally, what I think our masters are doing, and this is speculation real fast, I think our masters are trying to normalize depression and all the other chemical imbalances that have been created, ironically, based on the page that I'm on right now, because of and based on poor diet. A corrupted environment. You know, our water, food, and air has been corrupted by the very people who are pulling our strings. And it's negatively impacting the biome in our gut, among other things. We live in a disharmonious system currently because people aren't doing the right thing. This was the example that I've rattled off numerous times. I said Billy C., I'm talking about Billy Carson, if you don't know who I'm talking about, is controlled opposition. One example is Thoth. Has nothing to do with the secondhand account of Atlantis, allegedly given to Plato. Now, I've said this many, many times. Billy Carson's he jumps online and he'll tell you that Thoth, the Atlantean, did this, that, and the other thing, and has to do with Egypt and Atlantis, and it has to do with fucking make-believe adult fairy tale aliens. It has to do with physics-defying space. Space is a bad pun, what people think of in terms of, you know, Star Wars or Star Trek space. It's horse shit. And you can figure this out if you looked into it. Now, what I'm getting at with that is, and most people don't know these things, I'm not referring to the flat earth and I'm not referring to the globe theory. Both of those paradigms are in place to polarize people and to mislead the masses. And most people have bought into one of them and or both at different stages in their life. People don't know much, if anything, these days. And it's by design. That's also why you and I have the internet. That's why we have cell phones. That's why our masters gave us these things. And they openly outlined this in the Davos panel. People would know that if they researched instead of confusing research with entertainment. Billy C. is a great example of entertainment. He's not a source of information. No one should be shopping around anything Billy Carson leaves online. If they were well-meaning, you know, they didn't want to mislead others, and they knew just a little bit about what they are talking about. But people aren't looking into things. Instead, they're just regurgitating shit in the endless circle jerk that is the truth community. Which means they're lying to each other. They're urging each other to play make-believe. It's nonsense. So let's also talk about Plato real fast. And I've said this a bunch of times too. Plato was part of the Pythagorean cult. He was part of a mystery school or a boys' club, a secret society. And the last thing that they got up to, the last goal that they had was to teach people like you and I who are not part of that, secrets, answers to reality. So let's rethink what happened, allegedly. Plato, who was supposedly tutored, under Pythagoras, was handed a secondhand account from a stranger, essentially, that detailed this adult fairy tale of Atlantis, a continent sinking in a single night. Now let's also flash forward to present day. And let's think about all the structures on the moon our masters want people to chase and waste their lives on. All the crop circles, all the lights in the sky, all the stories. Let's just think about quote-unquote aliens for 3 seconds. How many times have people echoed, why is it always just some bumfuck farmer that saw it? Why don't we have some genuine proof? Then you get some of the other kids, well, you do have all these videos of lights in the sky and blah, blah, blah. Look up NIVIDA software. Keep in mind, today we live in, the age of AI videos and AI art and digital currency. Things that no one with a brain in their head would support, but people do. Which is why those agendas have legs. What I'm getting at is video and audio has been altered. And long term, our masters have been capable of doing this. Many people will rattle off that, how should I put it? Technology is rolled out slowly to the masses. That things exist long before you and I are privy to it. The same applies to audio and video being altered. That act of greater magic that took place back in 2001 that people still haven't figured out is a great example of that. In terms of it being widely circulated, well circulated and well publicized. Another reason why you could not trust what people went on to repeat. Because it's bullshit and it doesn't reflect reality. It's in place as an official narrative to mislead people. To what end? It's a means to an end. I'm talking about 9/11, if you don't know what I'm getting at. And people still, to this day, do not know what it symbolically represents, because most people you bump into are not capable of abstract thought. And that should fucking terrify you. So let's also dance back to these narratives. Today, you have kids talking about Tartaria and the mud flood. Those are adult fairy tales in place to corrupt what does reflect reality and what by all rights did once reflect history. And Tartaria and the mud flood do not reflect history. They are adult fairy tales, CIA-sanctioned narratives, just as ridiculous as saying birds aren't real. And again, I really like this page. I like what they get up to. And of course, TikTok doesn't work. And things like this, it just gets under my skin, because almost everybody you're going to bump into is going to do this. What I'm harping about right now. Because most people aren't thinking for themselves. And they're not willing to scrutinize the information. They just click repost without fucking thinking. And it is a problem. It is a problem. For those of you out there who can't reason this out, you jump on a page like this or any old page and you hear something like that and you buy into it and you get accustomed to Billy Carson's voice. And keep in mind, I'm just picking on Billy Carson right now. There are so many asshats out there right now functioning as controlled opposition who are polarizing people and lying to people. Some of them are getting paid for it. Some of them are people like you and I who don't know any better, and you're not getting paid for it, but you're circulating the information. But every time you do that and somebody new hears that stuff, and they become, in this case, familiar with Billy Carson's voice, when they see one of his videos, they're going to pause because he's familiar now to them, and they're going to listen. But as always, what the fuck do I know?